Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Management Studies, SOMS, Postgraduate Diploma in Services Management, PGDISM. Semester I, MMPM 008 Rural Marketing. Block 1 Rural Markets, an Overview. Unit 1 Rural Markets in India, 1.1 Introduction. India is home to approximately 650,000 villages, and yet we are able to reach and service merely 200,000 of them. There are still 450,000 villages that are yet to be tapped and developed as actionable market locations. Several reasons like lack of access, poor infrastructure and low opportunities have remained roadblocks for such market development. Yet, rural markets in India have significant importance, primarily for reasons that majority of our population are based out of rural India. Alongside this, a very large population is also dependent on the agriculture sector, the mainstay of rural. There is a famous saying that India lives in its villages, and the statement is quite true. Agriculture has always remained the mainstay of mankind. And with time, as advances happened in other areas, mainly the industrial and manufacturing sector, migration started happening to the cities. You could attempt this small exercise in your homes with your parents and relatives. This will help to trace the origin of your family and also help you to relate to the discussions more effectively. Speak to your parents and trace their origins at least 3 generations back, to understand where they came from, what kind of possible activities they did. Are there still land holdings there in the family? Discuss how the land owned has evolved over time. Lives and livelihoods in rural and particularly in rural India are different from what you see in cities. For a long time, there was a misconception that rural is associated with poor and underprivileged section of the people. Opportunities in the urban areas drive the poorer rural counterparts to migrate. However, the myth is now gradually changing and rural has become heterogeneous in nature. The rural parts of Punjab or Haryana or western Uttar Pradesh are different from the rural parts of West Bengal or Bihar or Assam. Think of the state you are living in and try and understand the agricultural scenario of your state, and there are a lot of answers you will get from there. Therefore, when understanding rural India and the markets, it is important to explore them from different lenses and not from a single one. Rural India is a very diversified construct with I. People of different income strata. E. Different kind of housing types. E. Though agriculture is the primary occupation, yet alternate occupations which are non-agricultural in nature are on the rise. IV. Penetration of digital and smartphones are on the rise. V. Self-help groups are a visible entity in rural India. In the next few sections, we will explore the vastness and heterogeneity of rural India and markets. It will help you understand the side of India which is often misinterpreted and misunderstood. Activity 1. When you look at the villages around the country, do you conjure up some images? Think of 5 words that come to your mind when you think of a village in your vicinity, and then think of 5 words that come to your mind when you think of a large metropolis like Delhi or Mumbai or Bengaluru and compare the words. 1.2 Defining rural. The first thing which requires clarity even before we dig deeper into the concept and principles of rural marketing is defining rural markets. How does one define a rural market? The Census of India defines rural as any area with a population density of 400 people per square kilometer and where at least 75% of the male working population is engaged in agriculture and where there exists no municipality or board. The definition provides a working sense of how you can understand any rural market. If the municipality exists, it becomes a city. Take for instance the city of Delhi and New Delhi. Delhi is the older part of the city which was often called as Old Delhi, comprising of the walled city of the Mughal era. The Britishers set up the new capital of the country in a newer part then called as Raisina Hills and was created by Edward Lutyens. Called as New Delhi, it soon became a sprawling area which was basically the administrative capital of the British government. Beyond Raisina Hills, everything was village and inhabitants did not exist. There were occasional villages and with limited population. Post-independent era, as population expanded, the villages started getting absorbed within the city and soon these villages became a part of the city. Municipalities came up and the technical definition of a village got diluted. The above example will help you understand how a village is defined and how a city is defined. This working definition will be helpful for you, especially if you are in a marketing responsibility for a FMCG or FMCD company and market mapping has to be done. Today, RBI also has its own definition of a rural market, and so does NCAER. But for all practical purpose, as a student of the course, you can follow the Census of India definition. How does this definition help you? It will help you when you are looking at market classification and further help you in defining a rural versus urban markets. Often, schemes of the government of India are directed based on the definition of the region. That can also be better supervised in this case. 1.3 Differences in rural and urban markets. Urban and rural markets have differences which are both physical in nature and there are differences which are invisible but largely social in nature. It is wrong to believe, which many marketers have misunderstood, that rural remains the poor cousin of urban. The origins of urban actually lies in rural. Let us dissect the rural and urban a little more to understand them better. Let us first start with the basic difference. In terms of the physical differences that exists, you will notice that the rural part of the India has unique traits from where the physical differences will emerge. 1. Dependence predominantly on agriculture remains an important point of departure. Urban counterparts have multiple occupations to choose from, blue-collar to white-collar roles. Rural is about agriculture and the several roles that emerge from there. Not everyone in rural India is a landowner, and there are cultivators and landless farmers too. There are stakeholders in agriculture sector who are suppliers of various kinds of agri-equipment to the sector like pumps, harvesting machine, plowing machines, irrigation machines, etc. In the last few years, the concept of rental of agri equipments has become more formalized, with a lot of companies now delving into this. Earlier, the farmer community and their camaraderie led to these equipments etc. being borrowed. Today, there are full-fledged agencies dealing in them. There are micro-lenders in the agriculture sector who are involved in providing small credits to the farmers too. In short, there is a complete ecosystem which is directly and indirectly involved in the primary sector. However, recent trends do indicate that the farm size holding over time has been reducing. Look at Table 1.1 and 1.2, which showcases data holding between 1995-96 and 2015-16. There is a rise in the data holding in the smaller size farm holding and reduction in the larger size farm holding. However, as you go through this course, you will realize that non-farm occupations are becoming increasingly dominant as income generation activities in rural India. We shall discuss these issues in detail in Unit 2 in depth. 2. There is another set of stakeholders who are engaged in the rural sector and who are in the non-farm sector. Occupation like construction, retail, real estate, self-help groups, to name a few, are involved in the profession. Though the percentage population is quite low, but there is a steady rise. Look at Figure 1.2 below, which illustrates the rising trend of the non-farm sector. Details about this will also be discussed in Unit 2 and 3. However, do note that this trend will be on the rise as more and more opportunities emerge in the rural areas of the country. 3. Role of MFI, microfinance institutions, in the rural markets are more pronounced. They play a key role and have been there since ages. History of India always talks of sakars or money lenders. Hindi cinema has perhaps best captured the spirit of these micro-lenders. Lala Sukhi Ram in Mother India is iconic. Earlier there were individual money lenders, but today they have now been supplemented with MFIs who have been playing a stellar role. These MFIs help the farmers in buying agri inputs, seasonal shopping, festival shopping and many other emergency requirements. The community of small farmers in India is quite large and there is always a perennial requirement of fund, as their income is harvesting month dependent. This is where the micro-lenders are timely help. It is not that these kinds of lenders do not exist in the urban markets, however the context and needs are different. 4. The increasing role of self-help groups, SHGs, are something unique to rural markets. SHGs are communities of villagers coming together for a common cause. Often the cause is related to internal or external driven activity. Internal activities can be related to daily chores or assistance required in fulfillment of those chores. For instance, agriculture and related activities often require community support, and this is where SHGs come in for collaborative work. For external activities like selling the agri-produce, SHGs come together for sharing logistics cost or for creating local products of handloom or handicraft and share resources and services. Often banks are more comfortable providing loans to SHGs rather than an individual. 5. The rural market is more heterogeneous in terms of regions. The farmers of Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh versus the farmers of Bihar, West Bengal and further eastern states versus the farmers of Maharashtra, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh are not similar in terms of social or economic background. They often have different orientation in terms of how the crops are to be looked at or the size of the land holding they have or the kind of ownerships they have. Often disparity remains a concern here and the same is manifested differently across regions. 6. Rural market and the context of retailing with respect to SKUs, stock keeping units, are also different. Unlike urban markets, large SKUs do not sell and are restricted to smaller units and pack sizes. One of the most popular examples of the mid-2000 era is Coca-Cola launching a small pack of 200 milliliters costing 5 rupees. The pack size and pricing were ideal since absence of refrigerator and storage issue are perfectly compensated for. Products like shampoo, packaged goods like condiments, pulses, detergents and toilet soaps etc. sell well in the smaller SKU formats. 7. Word of mouth plays a critical role in rural markets, though this often remains a feature also in urban areas where the population is below subsistence levels and is underprivileged, but rural areas show this as a more pronounced feature. This is partly because of lack of education and exposure to the world. Perhaps this leads to dependence on the peer group for all kinds of validation. Observe that in your neighborhood and adjacent areas. How do the workforce, especially support services workers like Aya, buy, cook and drivers, and you shall get understanding of the mindset. This remains an important trend and often marketers rely on word of mouth for product sales. 8. Rural markets buying patterns have seasonality. Though in the last few years they have been bucking this trend, yet purchases mostly takes place during the post-harvest season. The purchase patterns are interesting since durables to agri-related purchases to automobiles to tractors, the range is diverse. The rural hearts and melas are also integral to rural markets and often play an important role. There are some of the biggest rural fairs in the country, like the Nauchandi Mela in western UP, the Cattle Fair in Pushkar, Rajasthan, and Sonpur, Bihar, the annual Kumbh Mela and the weekly hearts and fairs in villages and towns. 9. Land, gold, and automobiles are usually the asset-based rural markets look at. The order of priority is the same as written. Land is often considered a holy asset and it cannot be sold unless there are pressing needs. Most often, if there is surplus income which gets invested in land followed by gold. Tractors, jeep, bikes, and the recent surge in smartphone penetration have shown that rural consumers do invest here. Activity 2. List down 5 factors you consider while buying a smartphone. Do you think your rural counterpart thinks of similar factors? Please talk to some rural customers around your region. What is the point of difference? 1.4 Demographic profile of rural India. Rural demographics has undergone a massive shift in the last few decades. In terms of sex ratio or working population of men to women ratio, or even in terms of how rural development schemes have worked and their outcomes. India's population, as per 2011 census, was 1.21 billion, 121 crores, is estimated around 1.40 billion. On 2022, UNFPA, World Bank estimates shows the rural population of India in 2021 was 900,239,774, figure 1.3, with 0.25% increase from 2020 that contributes over 60% of the total population of the country. The UNFPA estimated that by 2045 the demographic distribution will be slightly dominated by women in comparison to men. The UNDSA projected by 2050, over 50% of the total population of India will be remaining rural. Table 1.4 provides insights on the demography of the rural population in terms of population, male to female, households and family size. While the overall population between 1991 and 2021 increased by 32%, but the number of households has reduced. This gives an indication of the fact that though the population has an uprise, however they do not convert to rise in household population, which means more and more rural homes are now with reduced number of children. This trend provides an insight in terms of how education and the increase in awareness helps the homes to create a healthier and more prosperous lifestyle. The trend of the past, where invariably more children were considered to be a means of raising economic output. However, the rural folks started realizing that without education and proper social support, the debate of more offsprings to economic contribution may not necessarily be directly connected. Table 1.4, Demography of rural population. Look at the screen. Traditionally, households in rural India were joint families. But with the rise in population, the resulting pressure on land, and several other socio-economic factors, education, separate sources of income, migration, etc., joint families are now breaking apart. Families are now gradually moving towards the nuclear model in rural areas. A new concept, that of individualized joint families, is emerging, in which families stay in the same house, but have separate kitchens in order to avoid conflicts, pursue individualized choices, and nurture their children better. With the increase in individualized joint and nuclear families, the range and number of branded products entering the family is likely to increase. In terms of age and as per Census 2011, approximately 31% of the rural population is less than 15 years of age, while around 60% of rural population is in the age bracket of 15 to 59 years. The millennial population of India is around 450 million, out of which around 300 million millennials, 67% of total population, live in rural India. The 300 million rural millennials, 36% of the rural population, represent a significant market. However, there is a distinct trend of migration amongst the millennials. More number of millennials leave their home for urban cities from the states of Bihar and Uttar Pradesh in pursuit of education and employment opportunities. The overall literacy rate in rural India is 64.7%, Table 1.5. In rural India, the literacy rate among females is 56.8% and among males is 72.3%. Programs such as NPGEL, National Program of Education for Girls at Elementary Level, 2003, cash incentive schemes such as Dhan Lakshmi, 2008. Initiatives such as construction of toilets for girls, under the Swachh Vidyalaya initiative, and campaigns such as Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao have played an instrumental role in improving female literacy. Rural India is no longer an agrarian economy. It is now being replaced by non-traditional occupations, including shop, trade, skilled work, and salaried jobs. Rising literacy levels, improved and upgraded skill sets, and new technology have encouraged rural people to take up new occupations. There is an increasing incidence of supplementary occupation, an occupation pursued either in addition to the primary occupation or on a seasonal basis to augment income. As per an Edelweiss-Mart survey, 30% of rural households have a supplementary occupation. As can be seen from Table 1.6, only 19% people are completely dependent on agriculture for their income. An increasing number of people have given up farming or are exploring new avenues of income on account of land fragmentation, declining profitability in the farm sector, and changing family structures. Land in rural India is more than a basic input for agriculture. It is also a symbol of security, power, prestige, and social standing. A strong attachment to land, which arises from the fact that land is scarce, has direct economic consequences. As can be seen from Table 1.7 below, the number of land holdings has increased. For smaller land holdings, this highlights land fragmentation and increasingly uneconomic nature of agriculture. Land ownership in India is extremely fragmented. Small and marginal farmers, who constitute 95% of the population, control only 68% of the land. The average landholding size in India is just 1.2 hectare. The rural settlements are usually scattered, and the housing structures are different as compared to the urban places. Villages have land for homes and for cultivation. The settlements are usually in a cluster, and they can follow a pattern of same caste, religion or kinship staying together. As issues of caste and religion are sometimes visible or watermark or in a manner more pronounced, the housing clusters are a representation of the same. Sometimes the common facilities of the village can only be shared in a certain community of people. If there is a hand pump in the non-Dalit area, the Dalits cannot use it. They need to mobilize their resources to get one installed. We can see in the Table 1.8 below that hamlets and small villages with a population of less than 1,000 are on a decline. These are generally those villages which are far away and difficult to reach, hence one will find no or limited number of shops. In the decades between independence and Census 2011, an urban transition has been taking place. While hamlets and small villages had housed 43% of the population in 1950, they were home to just 12% of the population in 2011. Around 24,000 settlements were now classified as large and very large villages, where around 190 million persons, more than 10% of India's population, lived. High-density clusters are coming up in the neighborhood of established urban centers, which are still considered rural but portray quite urban characteristics. The types of houses in rural areas are very strong indicators of economic growth. Over the last 20 years, the trend in house type has changed dramatically, from less permanent, semi-pakka or kucha, thatched, to more permanent pakka types. Concrete. A majority of low-income groups live in kucha houses. However, as incomes increase, and the government support for EWS housing grows, the number of kucha houses comes down, low-income groups gradually move towards semi-kucha houses and then finally, pakka houses. In figure 1.4, we see that number of kucha houses is constantly declining while pakka houses are on a rise. From a marketer's point of view, a greater number of pakka houses indicates an increase in disposable income. This translates into an opportunity for selling high-value durables like TV, microwave, refrigerator and even for kitchen accessories like mixer grinders. 1.5 Rural consumers. The rural consumers are perhaps no different or maybe not be diametrically opposite to the urban counterparts. This is issue in terms of what prism are we looking from. Consider your daily activities sitting in a big city or town or metro versus your rural counterparts and answers emerge from there. In the last few decades there have been distinct impact in rural households and consumers through their exposure to smartphones, social media and television. Each one of them has had its own impact, and the consumer is perhaps now more evolved. Consider the era of 1950 to 70s, when the rural consumer was evolving from the shadows of the partition and post-partition era. Agriculture was the focus, and the country was gearing up for green revolution. This was also the time when the financial resources part remained scarce. Series of droughts, bad crop cycle and productivity had battered the sector. Post-1970s and with the impact of Green Revolution, things started looking up and urban marketers started looking up to the rural markets as a destination and opportunity. Yet, trends like population migration, low income, seasonal income, lack of awareness and land holding patterns were deterrent to the process. The reforms of 1991 which changed urban landscape perhaps did not have any direct benefit for rural markets, yet it did open up the services sector for more people to migrate. The smaller towns and cities along with the rural populations were now migrating more. This created a bigger base of remittance that was directly helping the population in the villages. Rapid advances in infrastructure, banking, information technology etc. added to the trend, and the villages of India were not the conventional under-resourced and poor ones that one was witness to in the 70s. The digital revolution in the mid-2000s and onwards, with the launch of smartphones, advances in social media and information technology, led to a boom in multiple activities. The rural consumer was now more aware and made smart choice. Can you take a guess which is the most preferred search engine in rural India? If your answer is Google, you are wrong. The correct answer is YouTube. Do not be surprised, as the channel today plays a vital role in the rural markets due to the convenience of visuals that can be seen. Lack of education often leads to stakeholders preferring visual medium rather than reading and searching. Aspects like fintech, marketing through social media, use of smartphones for information and many other tasks are being accomplished through this platform of information technology supported by internet plus smartphones. The new rural consumer is smarter and wiser and does not have to rely on the urban counterparts. The available technology access also helps in doing business more efficiently, without getting cheated or conned. In the city of Chanderi, the city is famous for Chanderi saris, and if you have happened to see the Hindi film, Stree, it was shot in Chanderi. In Madhya Pradesh, the weavers and craftsmen had faced a challenge in marketing Chanderi saris since the middlemen and agents picked up from them at low prices and sold for higher margins to stores in the city. The creators of the craft were always at the receiving end. Osama Manzar, along with his organization, Digital Empowerment Society, and UNDP collaborated to create a portal, Chanderianto, actively upload stocks, market and sell from the portal. It is an initiative to connect the buyer and seller directly without the interface of exploitative middlemen and would result in larger share of the benefits going to the craftsman. Rural consumers today focus on the basics like value for money, quality, looking for long-term solutions and embracing innovation. The consumer is smarter and wiser, and this makes it difficult for marketers to take them for granted. A lot of marketing practices being followed for the rural consumers emerge from the everyday experiences. Take for instance the popular program Kaun Banega Crorepati, KBC, on the Star Network. The new seasons of KBC targets the rural and the suburban towns of the country. The contestant profile speaks volume of the kind of awareness that the new rural consumer today has. Some of the distinct traits of rural consumers are: 1. Relies on word of mouth heavily, especially when purchasing high involvement ticket items. Often purchases are collective and not alone. 2. Consumers are brand loyal, and switching is rare and often requires strong cues like reference points and better price points. 3. Rural consumers often prefer semiotics to differentiate between brands. Color, logo, signs or symbols are great differentiators. 4. Rural consumers are often dependent on cash-based transactions and the propensity to use collaterals like gold and land for bigger ticket purchases are pronounced. 5. Social events like marriages and other rituals often hold important place in their activities, and much of these events have to do with the buying of durables and automobiles etc. 6. The role of social media and other related sources of information have become significant, as in most cases they help in the purchase hierarchy process. Look at the figure below to understand the process. Usually, the social media helps in the influencer stage, where the various set of information helps in making an informed decision. However, it may be noted that the final decision is not made on such sources. 7. Role of communication in creating a top-of-mind awareness matter. Below, the line of activities like in-store merchandising and other activities like wall painting, shop painting and hoardings help in generating awareness. Bold colors and symbols help in better exposure and identification. 8. Rural consumers are usually dependent on referral through reference groups in making decisions. Teachers, educated people, ex-servicemen, returning migrants are some of the people who help in influencing. If you happen to have seen the web series Panchayat, Season 1, you would recall how the local school master was the key influencer to the story of the ghost atop the peepal tree at the far corner of the village. 9. Rural consumers have always kept the concept of storage into account as a major factor during purchase. Unlike urban counterparts where the aspect of storage is taken for granted due to a fledgling infrastructure to support, rural remains handicapped. Buying larger SKUs remain always a concern. Therefore, say a Coca-Cola 2-liter PET bottle, which if stored might have challenges due to frequent power cuts. 10. Rural consumers in the south of India versus the north versus the west versus the east are different in terms of mindset, psychographic, social and behavioral. 1.5.1 Role of women in rural settings. Cultural and social norms are slowly changing, with nuclear families creating new roles for women. Traditionally, males were the dominant decision makers for all household purchases, as they were the ones moving outside and frequenting the markets, but now women do participate in decision making for the items they use, such as cooking utensils, food items, and soaps, as a result of greater exposure. There are 7 million women-run self-help groups, SHGs, in India, which means approximately 70 million SHG members. This means close to 1 SHG member in every 3 rural households. Many women travel to nearby towns for federation meetings as a result of their SHG membership, and in the process gain exposure to advertising and the products available. The 50% reservation for women in the Panchayati Raj has also played a key role in women empowerment. This greater level of exposure influences purchase behavior for the complete household and creates a willingness to try out new products, services, and brands. Some corporations have already identified this sizable new target consumer and are designing appropriate communication to create awareness for their brands. Companies should focus on creating awareness and excitement for their brands amongst the women, youth, and children, rather than focusing on the older generations, which remain more resistant to change. 1.6 Challenges in marketing to rural consumers. Rural consumers can be difficult task to handle, and often their vulnerability can be misinterpreted. Lack of education and exposure can be misread, and everything sells here cannot be taken for granted. One has to understand that rural markets and the consumers are exposed from 2 different sources for all kinds of information one needs for decision making. Internally, a village today is quite self-sufficient and makes for ease of decision making. Alternatively, there is a steady flow of returning workers, often migrants, who carry information back. Also, the era of social media adds to the information gap fulfillment. The government of India has been proactive in making the rural sector empowered, and especially a lot of initiatives targeted to the women, children, underprivileged, the farming community and the cultivators. all make up for the rural being more empowered, Lagda. Today there are several programs which are running under the Rural Development Scheme of the Ministry of Rural Development. One of the most path-breaking ones. The MGNREGA, Mahatma Gandhi Rural Employment Guarantee Act. This is one of the most important and effective schemes for rural development. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, MGNREGA, of 2005 guarantees 100 days of employment to any rural household adult who wants to do unskilled manual work in a financial year. The Act seeks to provide employment opportunity to the working people in order to fulfill their fundamental right to live life with dignity. Under this Act, if a person does not get a job within 15 days, he is eligible for getting unemployment allowance. It also highlights the significance of basic right to work. Currently around 15 crore MGNREGA cards have been issued in the country, and in total of 28 crore individuals took the advantage of the scheme in the financial year 2020-21. There are numerous other schemes which are all directed towards empowering the rural community. In the last few years, the rise of the women folk has been substantial. And the UN SDG goals, which always talks about empowering the women for sustainable economic and social growth, has seen ray of hope. For long the women folk were considered to be taking care of the house and sharing domestic chores. But the contribution of women in hard labor in rural has been phenomenal, and now more and more of them are stepping out to share the load of economic burden. If you compare their urban counterparts, there are more opportunities that the urban has, yet the rural women folk are making their way through the localized challenges. The key challenges for rural consumers are 1. Access to credit and finance. 2. Lack of education and awareness. 3. The presence of brokers and middlemen, which creates a challenge for the small farmers and cultivators. 4. The information gap in terms of the facilities being announced and finally reaching the local level. 5. Politicization of most activities, including scheme implementation and exploitation due to information gap. 6. Marketers' unwillingness to fully exploit the markets and leading to often short supply. Fruity is a popular mango drink that sells the most during the hot summers in North India. Often the brand is in short supply, and local player from UP sells a similar product under the brand name Mango Seep. Now, there is no harm in that, yet when Fruity understands the demand pattern, yet amends have really not been made. 7. Quality of products, fear of duplicate, counterfeits and spurious counterparts are a perennial problem. 8. Storage at the retail and consumer level has been a challenge. Products like aerated drinks and chocolates which need refrigeration has been an issue. 9. Pricing is often not uniform and the market has its own set of dynamics, as MRP, maximum retail price, remains a questionable issue. 10. Finally, the challenges are summed up through the 4 A's: affordability, availability, awareness and acceptability, which are roughly the summation of how the aspects of rural has to be looked at in terms of tackling the markets. Activity 4. How has the challenge in providing potable water to rural folks changed over time? Can you observe one state and discuss? 1.7 Introducing RURBAN. Rurban is an emerging concept that needs to be discussed in light of the topic of discussion in context of rural and urban. What is Rurban actually? As per Census of India statistics, the rural population in India stands at 833 million, constituting almost 68% of the total population. Further, the rural population has shown a growth of 12% and an increase in the absolute number of villages by 2,279 units during the 2001 to 2011 period. Large parts of rural areas in the country are not standalone settlements but part of a cluster of urban settlements, which are relatively proximate to each other. These clusters typically illustrate potential for growth, have economic drivers and derive locational and competitive advantages. These clusters, once developed, can then be classified as Rurban, taking also into view the advantages of clusters, both from an economic viewpoint as well as to optimize benefits of infrastructure provision. The mission aims at development of 300 Rurban clusters in the next 5 years. These clusters would be strengthened with the required amenities, for which it is proposed that resources be mobilized through convergence of various schemes of the government, over and above which a critical gap funding, CGF, would be provided under this mission for focused development of these clusters. From the Ministry of Rural Development website, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee National Rurban Mission. The concept of Rurban has become a silver lining in the cloud. The list of some of the major urban centers can be accessed at https://urban.in/assets/download/pdf/list_of_approved_clusters.pdf. These centers hold the potential to emerge as the feeder centers to the urban centers. Due to the proximity and the locational advantage, some of these centers are already showing positive results and are indeed becoming a model region to usher growth that stems from the rural and eventually supports urban centers. Historically, it has been the other way round, but now the wheels of change are reversing. 1.8 Summary. Rural markets often were considered the poor counterparts of urban markets. However, all that has changed in the last few decades as there are infrastructure development, increasing penetration of information technology, smartphone penetration, an aware rural consumer, and most of all the environment of rural is now more progressive and reform-driven. Women are stepping out to work and share the economic burden. The underprivileged are now making a mark for themselves, and the various measures of the government are uplifting their status. Yet, the challenges remain. Only 200,000 of the 650,000 villages are being serviced. The remaining are unreachable and there are high costs of accessing. Infrastructure remains a concern in terms of road, rail, banking, retail and basic amenities like water, electricity etc. India lives in its villages, and that saying will hold true for times to come. In the next few units, we shall explore in depth the various facets of rural markets. We shall also understand what the ways are and means to crack the rural markets and eventually create a resource center. One can simply imagine that with more than 60% population residing in rural India, the market potential is massive. The same, however, needs coordinated efforts and much planning. And all is not rosy. The ensuing blocks will help take you through some of these facets of rural marketing and help build your understanding of this fascinating subject. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video with next chapter.